Hello, Podsters. We are back. We are so back. And I want to be really clear about this episode. First of all, I am fired up. I don't know what's happening. I had several cups of coffee. Second of all, this is a re-record of an episode that Elisa, my guest, and I recorded a few weeks ago. And you know what, Podsters? It wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. So we decided to re-record because we had so many more nuggets. And here we are. We are talking about using, leveraging, and understanding that your style is your superpower, and that with your style, you can attract the right clients, you can create deeper human connections, and you can become unforgettable.
Mic drop.
Elisa, introduce yourself. Tell the Podsters why you're here.
Why? Well, one, I love you and I love listening to your podcast.
She does. Hey, so Podsters, that's a nice little hint. Elisa reached out to me and told me she loved my podcast. And guess what? She's on it a few months later. So
Yep.
please continue. It's about you, Elisa.
There's always little nuggets, but I am truly passionate about what we wear is an extension of who we are and how we're showing up and how people treat us. And I'm going to sing it from the hilltops every day.
Sing it, sister. I wish it didn't matter. And I wish that we could show up if we wanted to in leggings and a hoodie every day and people wouldn't judge us. And more importantly, we wouldn't judge ourselves. But what Elisa's going to explain today and what we're going to get into is a concept, among other things, called enclothed cognition. So Larry, so let's just, okay. So Elisa, tell Podsters, what is enclothed cognition? And then we're going to come back to it, but tell us what it is really quick.
Sure. So there was a study done years ago where they basically put people, all different genders, ages, and they said, here, take this test, but before you do, put on this lab coat. And so they split people into two different groups. And the people who wore the lab coat had better attention spans. And so they said, oh, wait, we got to do this again. And it's this idea that you're putting on something, right? Kind of like a super cape, Batman, Superwoman, whatever you want to call it. And they said, okay, this time we're going to have different people, mixed groups. This time we're going to have you take the test, but it's a doctor's coat. Think of this as a doctor's coat. Put it on, take the test. And again, same thing. People did better on the test, had better attention spans. And so it's this idea that you put something on and it has more than just a small effect on you.
Right.
And other people and how you think. It has to do with the decisions you're making and and your critical thinking and how you're showing up. It's just mind-blowing. I think it's fascinating.
Yep. It's awesome. It's great. So, and that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to talk about perceptions. We're going to talk about clothes and self-worth. We're going to, of course, Elisa's going to share some tips on what she calls a capsule wardrobe. We're going to tell you what that is. I thought it was very technical. Turns out it's super easy to understand. We're talking about men versus women. So let's just get into it. So Elisa is a wardrobe stylist. Tell me why it is so important to you that you help people understand that tapping into the power of their personal style can change their life. Why do you do what you do?
I started working with friends who were going through divorce, 20 plus year divorces. And it really was a struggle for them to find clothes that worked for them and how to show up, right? And it was really important because I saw the difference it made. When you put something on that you feel good in, you stand taller, your shoulders go back, you feel better about yourself. And suddenly you start getting more done. And it's fascinating. I have a no legging challenge sometimes when I'm working with new clients. And I say, okay, you have to get up and get dressed as if you're going somewhere, even if you never leave the house. And it truly is so eye-opening for the clients to realize that they get so much more done. They feel better about themselves. They're happier. And it's truly life-changing. And I'm passionate about it because I think that when you take time for yourself and self-care, it has a huge ripple effect in how people treat you, how you see yourself, how you show up for yourself. what you get done, what you don't get done. And there's actually studies that show you're more productive, higher sales,
Mm-hmm.
better confidence. You show up more authentically, you're more likely to raise your hand, speak up, unmute yourself. I mean, there's all these things, and it's as simple as finding things that work for you in your wardrobe and taking time to figure out what those things are.
I love it. I absolutely love it. However, I do not support a no legging challenge because, as you have learned, I have over 30 pairs of black leggings, not just
Yeah,
leggings, black
yeah.
leggings. And I swear by them. But I will tell you, when uh, I will change out of them if there's something very important. If I have even if it's virtual, if it's an important meeting, an important keynote, I can have whatever I want on top, but I won't do it unless I'm casual, running around the neighborhood or going out to dinner or whatever. I will wear them at dinner. But I digress. You said something that was really interesting. You said something about self-care, and what I wrote down was clothes as self-care. And I remember because we've worked together. So Elisa, can I tell them how we work together?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
of course.
Elisa graduated from speaker school. She is now just crushing it, has her everything ready to go. So by the way, if you're looking for a speaker to talk about this, her information's in the show notes. So we talked about clothes as self-care, and we talked about clothes and self-worth and putting on. I just think it's interesting because if you're feeling like crap about yourself and you're walking around in, even if they're nice sweatpants, even if they're those, what are the ones that joggers, even if they're the joggers that everyone's wearing now, no. If there's elastic on the waist of the pants, for me, it's going to impact how I feel about myself. And that is self-care. Self-care is how you're
Yes.
feeling about yourself, how you're thinking about yourself and how you're showing up. So I really love that. So let's talk about clothes and self-worth, because we talked about this a lot on the other episode that is in the files. So I'm going to pause. Tell me about how do you think clothes affect your self-worth or one's self-worth?
Clothes can have a huge effect on our self-worth and how we feel. I mean, I could go down a rabbit hole on that, but we as women, we spend money on everyone and everything else. I mean, I just talked to a woman this morning who, spent years taking care of other people. And now she's gotten to a point where she doesn't even know what her style is anymore, or
Mm-hmm.
what she likes, or where
Mm-hmm.
she even wants to start, because she gave everything of herself. For me, at age 40, I've told you this before, but I'll share it. I was at a point in my life where I didn't fit in any of my clothes anymore. And it pained me to go out and buy a new pair of pants. How silly looking back on it. But at the time, it was like, oh, I don't want to spend any more money on clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I'll just buy one. And I went to a, local store, bought one pair of pants, and that was it. But it was life changing because suddenly I had a piece of clothing that fit me properly. And it was that aha moment of, why am I doing this to myself? I mean, even my husband, there's the concept of when someone gives you a compliment and you say, oh, I got it on sale. Why do we do that? Why is that like a badge of honor? Why
Right.
isn't it?
Right.
I went and I spent time and I invested in myself and I found something that worked for me and I feel amazing in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But a lot of women struggle with spending money on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It happens
Mm-hmm.
every time we go buy a new bra, typically, because, well, no one's going to see it. And, it's not a big deal. I'll keep the old one, even though it's all outdated and outstretched and doesn't do anything for me.
I hesitate to spend
Right.
$54 on a bra because $54, that's a lot of money.
But that's pretty inexpensive, honestly, as
Is it
bras
really? Oh,
go.
is it? That shows you, right? I'm so cheap. Yeah. Yes. So you said quite a few things, and there was something I know what I want to not forget. I wrote it down. So we spend money on everyone except ourselves. So when you were telling the story about the pants, similarly, and some of the podsters have heard it, and you actually, I think, commented on this. So I lost a ton of weight many, many years ago. I was in my, I think, early 30s. And what I would do was instead of buying clothes for the size I wanted to be, and being uncomfortable. It's awful. And, because when you're comfortable, you're fidgeting, especially if you're in front of a room full of people. That's all they remember. It's awful. I would go to consignment stores because I knew that I would, or I was hoping or planning that I would only be in those clothes for a finite amount of time. So
Right.
rather than continue to wear the clothes that were too big for me or get rid of those and focus on clothes that were too small for me, I would go to a consignment store. I would pay $15 or whatever for a pair of nice designer jeans, and then I would wear them for a few weeks. And it made me feel so good because when my clothes don't fit, I feel like I don't fit.
Right. You make yourself small. I mean, I have seen client experiences where you put something on that doesn't fit, you literally make yourself small and cave in on yourself. And like you said, you fidget, right?
Mhm.
And there's I have seen real life experiences where when clients put something on they feel confident in versus not, they're going to give their ideas, share their thoughts, raise their hand, speak up, unmute themselves, right? And it's so powerful, especially when a client realizes
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
in real time
Yep.
and recognizes how they feel and how they're showing up and the difference between the clothes they had before and the new clothes they're wearing now. And also the power in saying, I'm going to invest in myself, taking that step and saying, you know what, I'm good with where I'm at now. And this is what's going to work for me today. I don't have to worry about where I was, where I'm going to be in the future. Right now, I'm good.
I
I'm
love
worth
it.
it.
I love it. And one of the talking points that we honed in on as part of your coaching and all of your programs, your keynote, your workshops, everything is the value of living your brand with a personal style that's comfortable and fits how you live. And
Yes.
that was an aha moment. So I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you remember, but you were talking about when you're running around town getting your coffee. So
Right.
tell the podsters a little bit about that because that was really a light bulb moment for me.
So I recently went to an event and the woman there, the head of a magazine, major magazine, said, your brand never sleeps. It's made up of all these micro moments. And it hit me. I mean, that's truly what I talk about when I work with clients, because most of my clients are entrepreneurs or women in corporate. And I believe that, but the way she paraphrased it was just mind blowing to me because it's so true. As the owner of your company, I mean, I see this. I had a client who was a financial advisor Monday through Friday. She wore suits. On the weekends, she hid, right? She wore a baseball cap and sweats, and she didn't want to see anybody. And I said, why are you leaving money on the table, right? You are your brand as a business owner, and even in corporate. You talk about this all the time. You want to get noticed. You want to be put on teams. You
Mhm.
want to reach out to people and be continually networking so that when an opportunity arises, they think of you, right? So if you're out and about getting your coffee, going to the grocery store, and you're in sweats and you look like a schlep, is that the brand you want to be? Is that how you want people thinking of you? No, I don't
No,
think
it
so.
is not. No, it is not.
Nope.
And what Elisa's saying, because I know how this story ends, is in quotes, that you can find something that's comfortable. So you can find this is a case where I will allow joggers. Okay. You can find some cute joggers, whatever, with a cute pair of sneakers and you can be yourself without hiding who you are and
Right.
right. There was another example. So there was another aha moment. I think I wanted to re-record this podcast because of how much I learned from you. Because there was another moment, two moments actually. We're talking about again how your brand never sleeps and you're always your brand, right? So we were talking about when I get on a plane, I will wear leggings usually, stylish leggings, but leggings. I'm on a plane and got, who only knows how long I could be stuck somewhere. This is from years and years of living on airplanes. So I was recalling a time with Elisa where I was on a plane and it was a very early morning flight and I had to fly through Chicago and I was going to Vegas. I looked like a schladink. Like I was like, I'm not going to see anyone. I don't care. It's fine. I mean, schladink. And I saw my boss and I saw my boss's boss. They were all on the same flight as me. And instead of it, and I was new to the company, instead of standing up and going over to them and saying, "Hey, so great to see you. I'm excited for the conference," and getting that FaceTime on an airplane, I hid, literally hid, because I was like, oh, so that was a missed opportunity. As I was telling Elisa the story, she said, "Well, what do you wear now on a plane?" And I said, "Well, I think you did," or something like that. We started talking about what I wear on a plane. And I said, "Well, I wear leggings and a long cardigan." She said, "Well, it's pink, right? Because that's my color." And I was like, "No, it's not." And what a missed opportunity. So fast forward, guess who now has two pink long cardigans to wear on the plane?
I love it.
I did.
That's
I
awesome.
did. Because here's what resonated with me. I'm a public speaker. I travel all over the world, and I was on a plane, and I'm on a plane often. I have a captive audience. The person next to me could be a client. And why wouldn't I be wearing my signature pink? I have pink everywhere. So why would I be wearing like all black? It doesn't, it's not my brand.
Right.
And I
I
think
have
it's
to,
go.
sorry, I just want to make one. I'm not saying that everyone has to wear pink all the time,
Right.
right? That's you, that's your brand, but it's about figuring out what is your look?
Right.
What's the look that you want to
Right.
have that fits your life, your lifestyle, what you do, and how can you create a cohesive look so every time you walk out the door, you feel confident, you feel put together. You feel like if you run into a client, you can say hello, create connections. People are craving connections right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you show up authentically, you are more likely to create those connections. People don't want to do transactional business. They want to connect and do business with people they know, like, and trust.
100%. And what I realized in talking to you was that by wearing the black leggings with the black long cashmere, or the black leggings with the tan black, I didn't want to be seen. And I don't when I'm on a plane. I want to relax. I want to read a book. I want to listen to my music. I want to get some work done, whatever. And also, it's a missed opportunity. I'm going to be seen. So if I'm going to be seen, I should show up as my authentic self, because the person that's hiding isn't my authentic self. It's my tired self. It's my tired self who isn't, just doesn't, I'm an extrovert. So when I can get some time to recharge, and that's what I do on a plane. However, it was a really good point. And I've been doing this a long time. So there was a reason why I didn't step into my pink persona. It was because I didn't want to, I was tired, right? Missed
Yeah,
opportunity.
I have to make one comment. So, since we recorded the first episode, I met with this woman who does Reiki and sound healings, and that's not really my thing. But I'm always open to having a conversation with people. And she reached out to me. She said, I want to talk to you because I work with colors." And I was like, "What does that mean?"
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I thought she was like a color analyst on the side, but really what she does is
Yeah.
she works with colors in her healing and her treatments. And so we went through the whole color palette. Orange is for creativity, red, there's positive and negative effects of these colors. Red can be powerful, but it can also mean anger. Green is, renewal, all the things. And I was fascinating. We got to the end, and you know what black is? It's numbing,
Oh,
right?
oh,
Right? Like, my mouth was we were on the Zoom call, my mouth just hit the floor. I was like, "What?"
oh,
Like,
all
talk
right.
about an
Well,
aha moment.
okay, New Yorkers, that was for you, my friends. Well, okay, so this is interesting. This is like peeling away an onion. So listen to this. I was thinking about this. So I had a phase where I was not comfortable in my own skin. I just wasn't happy with how I looked. This was not a short phase. This was probably like 2 years maybe. And I remember I looked in my closet when I was coming out and seeing the light. Everything in my closet was black or gray, everything. And I thought it was classic, which it is, but, and also it was, I didn't want to be seen. And now that you say numbing,
Doesn't that resonate? Isn't that amazing? I mean,
totally,
I was
totally.
flabbergasted and amazed, and also it spoke volumes because so many of the clients who come see me, they are wearing black, whether it's because it's slimming or they don't want to be seen. And when women do come to me, it's because they're ready. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
ready for
Yeah.
whatever the next is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I want
Mm-hmm.
to help them step into that brilliance and finding, now I'm not saying you have to wear all bright colors, but being able to find pieces that you feel confident in that make you stand taller, it really does help you step into that next newest version of yourself.
It does. Yes. And I'm still processing the black is numbing comment because in my head, I'm going through how many all black outfits I have. And also when I wear all black, I'll spice it up with a little, a big pink belt or, just something that like a little pop of color.
Right.
But anyway, that's interesting. That is interesting.
Yep.
Okay. So let's talk about men.
What do we, what, well, that's a whole.
I let that sit. So let's talk about men. And do you think men obsess or worry as much about what they're wearing as women?
I think men struggle with certain body issues, and I think they I think some men do. Yes. I know they do because I've worked with some. I mean, I had a gentleman years ago who said he felt like Jabba the Hutt.
Oh,
And really, I know.
that break your
I
heart.
felt so sad. And he was a very nice looking gentleman, but it was years of no one was paying attention to him. And so we did simple things like tucking in his shirt and buying clothes that actually fit. I mean, women do this too, right? As we age and we get older, we buy things bigger to hide all the problem areas we think. And what happens is we end up looking 2, 3 times larger than we actually are. And then we see pictures and we're like, oh my Lord, what was I thinking? And so that's what he was doing, is he was buying things that were way too big for him. And the funny part was he's like, why didn't my ex-wife ever tell me this? I'm like, well, I can't answer that question, but she is now your ex-wife. So, but the reality was he felt so much better when he had clothes that fit him and his body, and he had things that worked for him. We all feel better when we know we have pieces that work for us. And I don't think it's any different. I think some men talk about it less than women do. It's something that we're just like, people think, oh, well, women like to shop, or women like clothes, or women. No, not all women like to shop. Not all women like clothes. It's hard. There's not a magic book that taught us how to put things together and know what pieces to buy or how much to spend or what we're supposed to wear for what thing. I mean, that's what I work with some corporate clients. They have clients who are coming back to work and struggling, and they don't know what to wear. Most people would just like a easy, here, Garanimals for adults.
Well,
This is what you're supposed to wear.
Right. And that's kind of the concept of the capsule wardrobe.
Right.
But before we get into that, I want to go back for a second. So we have a few younger podsters. If you don't know who Jabba the Hutt is, Jabba the Hutt was a very famous, well-known character on Star Wars. Star Wars was a movie that was very famous, and there was a series. And I'm joking, podsters, but some of you might not have ever seen Star Wars, but he was this big, giant, like blob. So that makes me sad that he felt like that. And because he felt like that, he probably acted like that, and he dressed like that, and it colors everything.
Yep.
I want to go back to something that you said about shopping for clothes. Some people don't like shopping for clothes. The reason I like shopping for clothes is the promise of who I'm going to be when I wear those new clothes. So it's almost like when I wear this, I will feel X. When I wear this, I will be X. When really, I could do it now if I had the right clothes.
Can I touch on that 1 minute?
That's why I paused and gave you that look.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I meet women and men who say, I want to be earning 6 figures. I want to be earning 7 figures. I want the promotion. I want to be X title, whatever that is. And my question is, do you have the clothes to support that life that you want? And are you showing up that way or not? And if not, why are you waiting? Is it because you're going to wait to lose the weight? Is it because you're going to wait for fill in the blank? And the reality is you don't have to wait. You can just decide and make it happen.
Right. Totally. And for someone who is a public speaker who has fluctuated 10, 15, 20 pounds, 40 pounds her whole life, what I'll tell you is if you don't wait, and buy something, maybe it's small, that fits right now. So I was telling Melissa on the first recording that but I never know how something's going to fit because I'll fluctuate based on whatever's happening in my life. So I'll have the same pair of jeans. I prefer to wear jeans on stage, jeans and a blazer, or jeans and a sweater, or with my big belt. I feel great, and I'll have two different sizes because if one of the sizes doesn't fit, I'm not going to feel well in it. If it's too tight, I'm not going to feel well in it. So I have a backup, and then I'm confident. I'm not worried. I know I have both. I know I'm going to crush it no matter what. So rather than wait and not do it, I have the extra pair for what might happen, and I have it covered. That's been a game changer. It really has.
Yeah.
Big
And
time.
you'll show up confidently because you're wearing something that you feel good in and you
Right.
look
That
good.
fits. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about, let me look at my list. Oh, so I want to make sure we're clear on this because when you and I talked about your brand is, you are always your brand never sleeps. So I want to make sure I'm really clear. I'm not saying that, I'm not recommending that people put on a persona or that people are inauthentic. In fact, it's quite the opposite.
Right.
So if my brand is approachable, sophisticated, fun, helpful, right? And I show up with a extra large Puffy's Cape Cod sweatshirt that's, XXL and with my head down and a baseball cap on, what about that says approachable, sophisticated, fun, and authentic? Nothing. So it's finding the clothes to fit all of your lifestyle, which is, I think,
Right.
what people struggle with.
Right. Well, and it's hard because our work life has changed. And some people work from home a couple of days a week. Some people go to the office a couple of days a week. Some people work virtually. And can you keep doing what you're doing? Yes. But I truly believe that the potential of the success, what you're leaving on the table, is huge. I mean, there's just research that shows here's a study that was done, I think it was Yale years ago. A group of men, they put them in sweats and suits and they did mock negotiations. And the men in sweats sold, I think it was like 680,000. The men
Mm-hmm.
in suits sold 2.1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But the bigger thing for me was the critical thinking skills. The men in sweats got stuck in the small details and couldn't make decisions. And the men in suits made CEO like decisions. And so this is for all the people that say, and even you said, I wear my leggings on the bottom and then I put my top on the, okay, so are you showing up? Yes. But could you putting on a whole outfit change how you're showing up? I believe it does. And there are people who will not agree with me, and that's okay. But are you leaving money on the table when you don't do that? And if you're doing it on a regular basis, how much is that impacting your business over the course of a year? It's like not paying attention to the small increase in the promotion and then compounding it, right?
Exactly.
You're missing out
Exactly.
on that.
Yep. Yep. So noodle that, podsters. And in the meantime, I want to clarify. I leggings on the bottom, whatever on the top. If I'm speaking virtually, I will put on a full outfit
Yeah,
because I know I'm more sharp. I'm
right.
less casual. It's really, that's something, my friend. That is something. So let's talk about confidence because you claim that the right clothes will empower you to take more risks, show up differently, help others, and create a ripple effect for you, your team, and your life.
Absolutely. 100%.
Awesome. I love it. And I think we've demonstrated that. So do you want to speak to that anymore? Because I think that's super powerful.
I do. I've heard from clients who, after working together, they said, I put on this new outfit. I went out and I felt like I could kill it and
Mm,
I closed the deal. I signed the client. I have people who don't really spend a lot of new money on clothes. We work together in a closet edit, figured out how to work together with with just a few new pieces or jewelry. And one emailed me and said people were calling her glamorous and telling her she looked fancy and beautiful. People she saw every day. And she didn't spend any money. She didn't lose weight, but suddenly she felt 100% better about herself. And so she was showing up differently for all the people in her life as well as herself. That's powerful. That's life changing.
It is because that's also stepping into who you are. And once you do that and you own that everywhere, you'll never look back.
Right.
This is why we work so well together. So talk about the corporate box. So talk about how to find your individual style by stepping out of the corporate box or by not trying to fit into the corporate box.
Yeah, so it's kind of like when we talked about the brand. You want to be in today's world. I just saw another article about from CNBC or somewhere saying, 3 tips to get ahead. It was create connections, be seen, and I can't remember what the last one, but it was basically they went a roundabout way of having using all these technical terms. If you want to stand out, here's a simple way: wear color. If you were to put the color black and red next to each other, your eye is going to instantly go to the red. It's
Mm-hmm.
more than likely. If you put pink, if you put a bright blue,
Mm-hmm.
turquoise next to black, that's a simple thing that's going to make you stand out. If you're looking for the promotion, if you're looking to get noticed, if you want to be memorable, there's simple things you can do, like these glasses. You and I have talked about. I have 13, I think I have 15 now, different pairs of glasses. It's become my thing. That it makes me stand out and makes me different. It's a conversation piece. I've worked with clients who have jewelry or ties or funky socks. And it's just a way for people to think of you so that you're unforgettable and you're top of mind when the position opens, there's a
Mm-hmm.
promotion, a
Mm-hmm.
new spot on the team, whatever that is. And that's true whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in corporate, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you're trying to grow your base, client awareness, sales, all of those things are about people thinking about you and you being unforgettable.
I love that. And because I live that. So I want to share a story, and this is for the introverts. Okay. This is for the introverts who don't want to be seen and but they want to be memorable, or they say, I could never do that. So, as everyone knows, my signature color is pink. So every time I'm on a stage, I wear pink. And I had a keynote session a couple of years ago. It was big. And I wore a hot pink sleeveless pantsuit. And it was something. There are actually some pictures that I used from that. And it was a showstopper. And I think even to this day, I still work with this company. Like 2, 3 years later, people talk about it. And I think everybody assumes that I had the confidence to walk on stage in that pantsuit. I did not, Podsters. I didn't have the confidence to do that. I knew that I needed to be memorable. I wanted to be on brand. I could have worn a pink blazer and jeans, which I usually do. I was in Florida. I wanted to stand out. And I knew that if I wanted to stand out, this was really going to resonate. It was a room full of women. This was really going to resonate. And no, I didn't have the confidence, but I did it anyway. And that's the difference. I did it anyway and it worked. It worked.
Well, you don't have to wear a bright color, right? There's
Right.
different ways, not wearing the black suit, maybe wearing a blue tie, or maybe wearing a scarf, or whatever it is. It's like it's figuring out how to show up authentically in whatever works for you,
Right.
right? But when you look like everybody else, it's really hard
Mm-hmm.
to stand out. And so
Mm-hmm.
figuring out what your authentic self feels confident in. I mean, there's a lot of workplaces now that are trying to come up with new guidelines to figure out what to tell their team members. Okay, this is what you can wear. Here are the guidelines, right? So people are trying to think outside the box and not do the same thing over and over. So you need to figure out what that looks like for you. And it takes time. That's part of that self-care. Taking time to figure out, okay, what works for me? What do I want to wear? You have to try new things, maybe too.
Totally. So that brings us to the capsule wardrobe. So tell the podsters what that is and how they can start building one.
So there's a lot of definitions, but the general definition is it's a capsule or collection of clothes that you can turn into multiple different outfits. And if you Google it, there'll be some that say you need to have a trench coat, some that say you need to have a button down shirt. My philosophy is you have 3 tops, 3 bottoms, 3 layering pieces, some shoes and accessories, and a little black dress or suit, jumpsuit, whatever works for you. Because not everybody, what I've seen over the last 10 years is not all of my clients like to wear skirts. Not all of them like to wear pants. Some wear jeans. Some don't wear dresses. Some wear jumpsuits. Some like a suit, some don't. And so it's about finding the pieces that work for you. But when you have the right 9, 10 pieces, you can create 20, 30, 40 different outfits.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding pieces that have a similar color palette that you can mix and match together that work for your life. So, it could be jeans, skirt, and a pair of slacks. It could be a couple of blouses, could be t-shirts or sweaters. Layering pieces could be vests or blazer or a cardigan, whatever works for you and your lifestyle, so that when you walk out the door, you have the outfit that works for where you're going and what you're doing.
Love it. I love it. And without having to buy and buy and buy and buy and buy, right?
Right,
Right.
right. And you don't have to. I mean, you can, let's like this season, the trend is those jeans that are cuffed at the bottom, right? Okay, so maybe you want to be trendy and you want to buy a different pair of jeans that have a cuff on the bottom. Or, a couple of years ago it was tie-dye. Okay, maybe you want to buy a tie-dye shirt. That's not my thing, but maybe you want to add that to your summer capsule. So it's still going to work with your jeans or a skirt or a
Mm-hmm.
pair of shorts, whatever it is. And it's a fun, trendy thing. But I like helping clients find classic pieces they can wear over and over, and then add in a few things here and there so you don't feel like you're constantly shopping or constantly trying to stay up on whatever the trend is. And you have pieces in your wardrobe that work for you instead of those one-off pieces that are no longer in style.
I love it. I love it. So Podsters, I'm going to give you a challenge. And I just did a challenge with my confidence community, my email community. By the way, if you're not a member of this community yet, I'll put a link in the show notes. And I got a ton of responses, which was really cool. So we're going to do a challenge. Elisa and I are going to do this. I want you to notice how you feel the next time you get up and put some clothes on for whatever it may be. Now let's do the weekend. Okay. Notice how you feel when you get dressed on a Saturday or Sunday. And then I want you to go change and put something else on, something a little more fitted or a little more polished or a little more exciting, and notice how you feel and get back to us. Send me a note, send me an email. If you're watching on Spotify, I'll leave a section in the show notes. There's a Q&A in Spotify. Send a note to Elisa, send a note to me, DM us wherever, we're everywhere on Instagram and LinkedIn and all the things. But take a look. Take a look at how you feel, because it's true. And think about amplifying that over, if you own your own business, think about the different and more plentiful clients you'll attract. If you're in the sales profession, think about the clients, the deals you'll close on, the connections you'll make, no matter what you do. If you're an accountant, if you're a lawyer, it doesn't matter. It's about connection. And if you don't want to be seen, or if you look and feel like a schladink, you're not going to put yourself out there and want to be seen. So you're not going to make the connection. So you're doing yourself a
Yep,
disservice.
absolutely.
Elisa's nodding vehemently. Okay, so what else do you want our podsters to know before we wrap? Anything? Did we cover everything?
I think we covered
We
everything.
did. I think we did.
Yeah.
I mean, I came in hot, so I just want to make sure that you
Yeah.
you have everything. So the other thing, podsters, that Elisa pointed out to me was that I too have several pairs of readers. Again, for those of you who don't know what those are glasses that you put on when you get older and your eyesight starts to just get a little fuzzy. So you need them to read. I didn't have any in pink. What? It's like it's interesting because it's like, oh, well, when I'm not working, blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm still always my brand.
Right.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Right.
Get out of
I
my
know.
head. Get out of my head, Elisa. All right. Where can people find you?
You can find me at turnkey.style.com. You can find me on Instagram at stylish curvy girl. You can find me on LinkedIn, Elisa Ellis. That's where I'm at.
So I'm going to link to your website in the show notes. There's tons of cool stuff there. I do love your Instagram. It is very cool.
Thanks.
Stylish curvy girl, right?
Yes,
Okay.
because I've been everything from a size 0 to 18 plus, and now I'm somewhere back in the middle.
You know what? In the middle's good. In the
Yeah, I'm
middle's
good.
good. It's sustainable. It's you. It's real. Love it.
Yep.
All right, Podsters. So find Elisa. Try our challenge. Tell us how you make out. And, be comfortable. Be comfortable, because when you're comfortable, you're confident. The end. right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not ending the podcast. I'm just saying when you're comfortable, you're confident.
Well, and I will say that style is not a size. I know that wasn't the title. I know our title is the power of style, or style is your superpower. But I really believe that when you find things that fit the body you have now, you're going to show up and just knock it out of the park.
Love it. With that perfect end, peace out, Podsters. I will see you next week.